Welcome to another episode of NACIC Bible Stories. Have you ever seen a parade? Maybe it had marching bands, bright balloons, cheering crowds, and people waving flags? Imagine the excitement, the noise, and the joy of being there. Now, what if I told you that over 2,000 years ago, a parade happened in Jerusalem, one unlike any other in history? No marching bands, no balloons, but the most important man who ever lived was right at the center. Today, we're going to dive into a powerful and exciting story from the Bible. It's found in Matthew 21 verses 1 to 11, and it's called Palm Sunday, Jesus Enters Jerusalem. So sit back, open your hearts, and get ready. Because this is a story about a king who didn't come riding on a mighty horse, but on a humble donkey. A king who didn't come to conquer with weapons, but with love. It was the time of Passover in Jerusalem. Thousands of people had come from far and wide to celebrate. The streets were crowded. Families were bustling. Shops were busy. The air was full of excitement. But something even more special was about to happen. Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem. He had been traveling with his disciples, teaching, healing, and showing God's love. Now, as they came near a village called Bethphage at the Mount of Olives, Jesus stopped. He looked at two of his disciples and gave them a very unusual instruction. "Go into the village ahead of you," he said. "There you will find a donkey tied up and a colt with her. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone asks you what you're doing, just say, 'The Lord needs them,' and they'll let you go." Now pause and think about that. Jesus knew exactly where the donkey was. He knew there would be a colt too, and he even knew what the owners would say. That's because Jesus is always in control. The disciples obeyed. Sure enough, just like Jesus said, they found the donkey and her colt. When the owners asked what they were doing, the disciples answered, "The Lord needs them." And the owners let them go, just like that. They brought the donkey and the colt to Jesus. The disciples laid their cloaks on the donkey's back, and Jesus sat on it. Wait a minute, why a donkey? Isn't a king supposed to ride a powerful horse? Well, Jesus was making a big statement. He was fulfilling a prophecy written hundreds of years before by a prophet named Zechariah. The prophecy said, "See, your king comes to you, gentle and riding on a donkey." Jesus was telling the world, "Yes, I am the king, but not the kind of king you're expecting. I come in peace with love." As Jesus rode toward Jerusalem, something incredible happened. The people began to cheer. They spread their cloaks on the road, creating a royal path for him. Others cut palm branches from the trees and waved them in the air, shouting with joy, "Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest heaven." Hosanna means save us now. The people were shouting praises to Jesus. They had heard about his miracles, how he healed the sick, made the blind see, and even raised the dead. Now they believed he was the promised Savior, the Messiah, the King of the Jews. What a celebration. The streets of Jerusalem were alive with joy. Palm branches waved like flags. Children danced. People sang. And in the center of it all was Jesus, the gentle king, riding humbly on a donkey. But not everyone was happy. Some of the religious leaders saw the crowd and frowned. They were jealous of Jesus. They didn't believe he was the Messiah. They said to him, "Tell your followers to be quiet." But Jesus replied, "If they keep quiet, even the stones will cry out." Wow, can you imagine rocks shouting praises? That's how worthy Jesus is of our praise. He is the King of Kings. When Jesus entered Jerusalem, the whole city was stirred. People asked, "Who is this?" And the crowd answered, "This is Jesus, the prophet from Nazareth in Galilee." But here's the thing. Even though the people were cheering now, in just a few days, many of them would change. They didn't understand that Jesus came to save their hearts, not just their lives from the Romans. He came to bring a forever kind of peace, a peace with God. Jesus knew what was coming. He knew that in just a few days, he would face the cross. But he rode into Jerusalem anyway. Why? Because Jesus was motivated by love. He loved the people in the crowd. He loved the disciples. He loved the children. He even loved the ones who didn't believe in him. And he loves you and me too. This wasn't just a parade. It was a royal announcement, a peaceful declaration, and a beautiful beginning to the most important week in history. So, what can we learn from Palm Sunday? Let's go back to our three big lessons. The first lesson, Jesus is always in control. From knowing where the donkey would be, to fulfilling a prophecy written centuries before, to riding into a city where he knew people would turn against him. Jesus wasn't surprised by anything. He is God. He sees the beginning and the end. And no matter what's going on in your life, you can trust that Jesus is still in control. Lesson number 2. Jesus is worthy of our praise. The people shouted, "Hosanna," and laid down their palm branches to honor him. We may not have palm branches today, but we can praise Jesus with our songs, our words, and our lives. He deserves all our worship every single day. Lesson number 3. Jesus is motivated by love. Everything Jesus did, riding into Jerusalem, facing the cross, rising again, was because he loves us more than we can imagine. He didn't have to go, but he chose to. His love is strong, gentle, and forever. So next time you hear the word Palm Sunday, remember, it's not just about waving branches or shouting Hosanna. It's about a king who came in peace, a savior who came in love, and a God who is always in control. Thanks for joining us on this episode of NACIC Bible Stories. We'll see you next time with more stories that bring the Bible to life, just for you. Till we meet again, stay safe and be blessed.